And we're finally live. Hello, one, hello, all. This is the August 9th edition, which would be the August 5th through 7th weekend, uh, also known as probably the last big gasp for the summer. We have a minor milestone here in which Peter actually has seen the movie of choice more than I have.
Yeah.
Peter, you just got back from your second viewing of Suicide Squad, correct?
Yes, I have. Just got literally back like 10 minutes ago.
That's good. It's still fresh.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
I said it the first time, I said it the second time. I like the movie a heck of a lot. I don't understand why people are freaking out about this movie in any way.
Right.
I understand the movie's not perfect. I understand there's some plot holes. I understand there's some CGI that's not great. I understand. But I'm like, it's got lots of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's got some great characters that are totally fun.
Right.
It's got overall it's got a pretty straightforward story. That like I was saying to CP before, one guy in the middle of the film
Simplistic. Yeah.
said to his girlfriend, "I have no clue what's going on," and I was like, "How do you not have any clue what's going on?" It's
Yeah.
pretty freaking clear what's going on. But
You can get that from the trailer too.
yeah,
Like
it's like
they assemble all these bad guys. They have to go take care of this bigger
yeah,
evil. That's it.
that's basically it. Like it's pretty straightforward. Like I could pick it apart, and like it's not a perfect movie by any stretch, but I really like it, and
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed watching it the second. I think I enjoyed it more the second time.
It's
Um,
funny. That's really
it's
funny.
just and like I came out again going, I'm even more have no clue why people are complaining about this movie, other than like you can pick it apart in film ways and say, okay, this was a little like this was choppy and this wasn't this and this part of the script didn't make sense, and I totally agree with that, like a lot of those things. But as an overall movie, I just don't get why people are going, oh, it's terrible, worst film of the year, blah blah blah. It's like what?
Right.
So
Having a good time at the theater seems to not be important anymore, or
no,
just in this instance,
yeah,
apparently, because it's like you said, the characters, they're so charismatic, and if you need something other than that, like you're having a good time with the characters, whatever the story is about really shouldn't matter because you're having a good time with the characters. Like I've watched tons of movies where like the story sucked, but I enjoyed what, like most comedies, the
yeah,
story is simplistic bullshit, but you're
yeah,
not there for the story. You're there for the comedy. You're there to see the
yeah,
comedian's work and I mean anything Kevin Hart is in, it's just okay. He has to save this couple from getting married. He has to
yeah,
go undercover. Like comedies are the simplistic of stories, but people manage to have a good time. It's the same thing here. Story's not that strong at all, but I don't think that has anything to do with the good time factor.
no,
Like literally, it's just too much fun and I don't know. Yeah, it's like you said. It certainly is flawed, but what isn't? And in this summer, like
yeah.
there are more flawed movies than there are not flawed movies, and it's a good time. It really. I don't know. There are these two spectrums. There's the super art house film where you have a guy who's sitting in a desert for 90 minutes, and he
Yeah,
says maybe what 15 words throughout the movie, and that
yeah,
manages to get all this attention. And it's just like you leave a camera on a tripod and tell a guy to sit in a fucking desert for an hour and a
yeah,
half. And what is that? That's not entertaining. But this is the total opposite spectrum. It's the ADHD theater where it's just fucking scene, 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 scene,
yeah. A
scene,
lot
scene.
of cuts, a lot of fast scenes and stuff,
Right.
and yeah, I just don't understand. I don't. And man, Margot Robbie is perfect in this movie. Like, forgetting the fact that she looks like the way she looks, she is perfect as Harley Quinn. Now, like, that's not saying that Harley Quinn is written perfectly,
Mm-hmm.
because there's a few times she says things and you're like, that's stupid. But that's not Margot Robbie's fault in any stretch. It's like that's what they gave her to say. But
Yeah.
as
Talk about a
as
killer app. It's just like, ugh,
yeah, it's like,
ugh.
but as Harley, she's pretty much perfect. Like I just, I,
Oh,
I don't get like some of the critics are like Will Smith is too Will Smith. Will Smith is like, other than when he's trying to be super dramatic, Will Smith is Will Smith in every freaking movie.
yeah. You could get $100 million budget on Will Smith.
On
Like,
Will Smith.
yeah, his name alone gets you extra money. Like, what are you talking about?
It's like, I don't like that Will Smith was so much like Will Smith. It's like, who were you thinking he was going to be? It's like, he's Will Smith.
Right.
It's like
Right.
saying, I can't believe Johnny Depp was so Johnny Depp. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
he's Johnny Depp. That's exactly what he is.
There are a couple of names that can draw from both races, both sexes.
Yeah.
I would assume Tom Cruise is one of them.
Yeah.
Will
Yeah.
Smith is
He's
one of
still on.
them. Where like you put him in a movie and you're gonna have members from all ages, all creeds, all sexes, all races. They're all gonna
Yeah.
enjoy the movie, and it's gonna be pretty safe.
Yeah.
It is. It's what Will Smith is. He's not really that bad a bad guy. He's actually
No.
quite admirable a character in the movie.
Yeah.
He's really looking out for his daughter, and that's as
Yeah.
sweet as a hitman can be.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. Let's get to the actual. We'll talk more on the movie as we go, I'm sure. Let's get to the actual show businesses of this.
Yes,
And
yes, sir.
CP wins out of the two of us in the fact that I thought people were going to be stupid and not see the movie. So
Oh,
I
you're
said
talking about the money number, yeah.
yeah, because like I said, like I was so hoping it did well, and but I thought I was just afraid it wasn't going to. So I thought it may do 115. You were 128. Was that
Yeah,
what you were?
something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, it was
high
128,
120s.
and made 134. So we're both not right, but you were much closer than I was.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's a decent number. That's I believe you said that puts it as the 10 highest grossing movie of the year. Is that what it is, or?
Yes, yes. Actually, I don't. I appreciate you remembering that because I would have forgot that.
Yeah.
To be completely honest.
That's
with
why
you.
you wanted it to be 128. That's why you picked that number exactly, because you're like, if it hits 128, that makes it number 10 on the list of highest grossing movies in domestic box office.
Look at you. You're absolutely right. And
So,
as it sits right now, it's number 9. It's number 9 at 146. X-Men Apocalypse is 8th with 155. And then you have this super long gap between 8 and 7.
Where it's like,
yeah, 7 is Secret Life of Pets at 321.
Freaking still making money.
And it's still making money. So that gap is going to
Secret Life of Pets screwed me again. Because if that had been taken, I think if that was taken out of the spot, I think
Well, you had 9 lives in that.
I had 9 lives in the 5th spot in Star Trek Up 1. Yeah. And I thought Secret Life of Pets. I thought it's been Lamont. It's going to come out of the thing 5, but no, $12 million it's still made.
It's strange. It's really strange the lasting power of these children's animated family movies and
Dory and Secret Life of Pets.
Well, you know, we've kind of alluded to it. I mean, growingly all summer. Do you think it's more of a safety thing? Do you think it's more of a quality thing, or do you think it's more of there's just not good movies out?
I think it's a bit of all of it, but I think mostly the competition isn't that harsh this summer. Right. So like we talked about Secret Life of Pets coming out, and the next week Ghostbusters came out. So it's like, and then Ghostbusters fizzled very quickly, and then like Ice Age came out, and Ice Age was no match for Secret Life of Pets whatsoever.
Right.
Like Secret Life of Pets, like Ice Age probably beat it its first week out, but since then I don't think it has. I think it's lost two Secret Life of Pets. I think Secret Life of Pets has beat it every week since then, and it had already been out for at that point. Its 4th week was Ice Age's 2nd week.
Right.
And it's still making money. It's still in the top 5. Where the heck is Ice Age? Yeah. So, I think it's a lack of really good things to go against it, and I don't know. It's a safety thing where it's like those are good films and you can show your kids and stuff, and there's no rush to run out and see them because obviously either that or people are seeing them multiple times because it's like for a movie that's been out for 5 to 6 weeks to make $12 million, like what? Yeah, it came. Secret Life of Pets was the first week in July, right? It came
Uh,
out 15th was Ghostbusters, so the week before that
Secret
was,
Life of Pets was July 8th. Was it?
and
So
it's
it's been out a month.
still in the top 5. It's freaking August 9th today,
Yep.
so it's a straight month later,
Mm-hmm.
and it's still, which roughly I think it turns out to 5 weeks of being in the box office. This is its 5th week in the box office, and
What
it's still freaking making money.
What's funny is you look at the top 10. Finding Dory's #1 on the year.
Yeah.
Released in June. Captain America: Civil War released in May. Deadpool February. Jungle Book April. Zootopia March. Batman vs Superman March. Secret Life of Pets July, and X-Men Apocalypse May. You have all these in the top 10.
Yeah.
Other than what's currently going, there's no like summer movies. There's no June, Julys in there. Like that's so abnormal for I don't know ever. Like
it used to be your biggest your Oscar winners are all the stuff from late September to freaking usually not even December. So like the beginning of December, because then like they don't put a lot out like in December because of whatever their Christmas movies and stuff. And your blockbusters that made all the money were freaking from like late May to the beginning of August.
Mm-hmm.
And now everything is like you're like April, May, March, February, April, March. It's like that's crazy. The world is just like summer starts officially now, like in beginning of May, like for the movie box office season and stuff. But it's like pretty soon they're just gonna be like April is when we're gonna start doing. It's like that's the summer box office season. And
I mean, they had no problems just moving a whole bunch of big stuff to March this year. Like March was the unofficial start this season.
Yeah.
When you had Batman vs Superman, and then they kept following it up with other big stuff.
Meanwhile, there's a lot of stuff that hasn't made the money that you think it would, and I'll give a shout out to Tyrell from Tyrell Listen. He was talking on Twitter about the fact that there's so much out there that like the films are just cannibalizing each other.
Yeah.
It's like, so you have the really big ones that are making their money, and it's like, so it's like if it was eating, it's like, a big thing eating a thing, like, a whale, or let me explain this: a shark eating a whale carcass and tearing off pieces.
A big thing eating a
big
thing.
Yeah, I don't know. My brain's not working. So like when you got a big animal eating another animal, it tears off pieces as that are falling by the wayside as it's eating the main chunk.
Mm-hmm.
And you have all these smaller animals coming out to try and fight for the scraps of what's left. So you have movies that are like, oh, we're going to, in a couple weeks, make 300 million. Everything around that is making very small little bits here and there. So it's like, and what they're doing is they're all fighting it out for second place.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you have that first place, which is like we were talking about, like Secret Life of Pets stayed first place for quite a while. It's like Dory stayed first place for quite a while. And everything else is like that's fighting for second is like devouring each other. So like movies that would have made okay bank if they weren't going against like some of the things they're going against, they're fighting against each other too much. And then you get a movie like Central Intelligence, which wasn't going against any of those movies for most of the time of its release. It was the only comedy for like 5 weeks. And so it continued to make money, even though if it had been going against a lot of other comedies, it would have got eaten too. But the fact that it just had the right timing so that it made a bunch of money.
Yeah, it just lingered at like in between 4th and 6th for a couple of weeks. It was just like,
because there was nothing else like it out there. There was no other comedy like kind of teenager adult comedy that was like it. So it didn't have to fight for, like, it's like if you wanted to see a comedy, that was the only one.
Right.
Whereas in everything else is fighting each other for freaking second places. And it quite, like, handily went, we'll keep on taking fourth as long as we're making, like, good bank every freaking week, which it was. So
I don't know if you alluded to it or if I'm just making this up in my head. You talked about Ghostbusters.
Yep.
So can we call it a flop yet?
We can call it a flop in North America. Do you know what the worldwide numbers are?
Worldwide is 180.
Then yeah, it's a flop. I'm sorry. It costs 144, 140,
144, and that's without any marketing.
And that's without any marketing. Yeah, I'd call it a flop.
Paul Feig said in an interview that anything less than 500 million, is a failure. So
well, then, yeah,
180 is decisively
worldwide,
less than 500.
180. Like that's like 180 just domestic. You could have called it a flop, but 180 worldwide. And again, not having China hurt them big time, because I think it would have made a bunch of money in China just because people would have. Although, like,
would it have made 320 though?
I don't think it would have made 320. No,
yeah.
Just because. Not to be racist to China in any way, but China is a very male-dominated society.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how a female-led, like, 4-character cast would have done in China.
Right.
As a comedy, it's not an action film; it's a comedy. Like, it does have some action in it, but I don't know how it would have done it. I don't think it would have made 320 million. That's for sure. So, yeah, especially if it wasn't making anything near that in the rest of the world. Like, that's a big, that's a huge. The rest of the world just had no interest in it, I guess, because it made what, like 110 here, 120.
Yeah,
110. I think it was. I looked at it earlier.
I just had it.
I looked at it a little while ago.
117.
117. Okay, so 117 domestic. The rest of the world didn't even equal that.
Yeah, 62.
That's not, like, the rest of the world usually. Lately, we found, like, it's like the rest, whatever the big thing makes here, the rest of the world triple or quadruples that, right? So it's like, if it makes 100 million here, it makes 400 million in the rest of the world.
No, if it makes.
Oh no, it makes 3 times that.
2. We always get a third of.
Yeah, we get is it a third or a fourth?
It's usually a third. What's been happening with some of the weirder stuff is a fourth.
Is a fourth, okay.
So usually, in normal cases, it would be 100,000 here, 200,000 worldwide.
Okay, so if you had Ghostbusters making 118 here, that would have been 226 or not 26.
236.
236. So then, like, that would have, you still not 500, but right. It would have made a lot more money. But no, it's like, wow, it made 60.
Right.
So that was, like, I think you have to call it a flop, because like, the amount of budgeting they must have done on advertising was huge. So I would call it a flop.
It's not just that neither. I mean, you have stuff that, like, Independence Day Resurgence wasn't supposed to be, this dominant figure by any stretch, but
yeah,
Angry Birds got more money than Independence Day 2.
Wow.
Like what?
That's kind of crazy when you consider it's like it's a game that lost its edge. Like, people stopped playing that thing on a whole, like, 3 years ago. And
I watched the movie. It really is a shoehorned way to get that story into a story. It's not a movie. It's something that comes free with a box of cereal or something. It's not a movie. And it made more money than Independence Day. Like what? There's that. What are the other big gaffes of the, like, this summer appeared to be like, all right, everybody, get your crazy shit that's likely to fail and put it in 2016 summer.
Yeah.
Alice Through the Looking Glass.
Yeah.
76 million, and it just puttered.
And that their budget was like over 100.
A lot more than that.
I know that much. It was pretty big.
Yeah. What else? So
that had to be considered a flop.
There's that. Wait. What am I losing here? Um, February, March. I'm missing one. There was one I wanted to bring up, and I totally forgot it. I can't find it.
It did make me laugh when people were like, Batman vs Superman is a flop. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Batman vs Superman has made like 800 million plus
Right,
worldwide.
right. Oh,
And they're like,
Warcraft.
yeah,
Right.
well, yeah, Warcraft. Warcraft would have been a flop if it hadn't been for China.
Yeah, worldwide saved
Yeah,
its
worldwide
ass.
definitely saved its ass, in particular China, because they seem to just love that movie.
And you know what?
Here it flopped though.
And the BFG too. Like,
Yeah,
I don't listen. I knew nothing about that movie. It just didn't register with me.
I saw it. I saw it on vacation.
And
Sweet, nice little film. That's all I can say about it. It's literally a sweet, nice little film, but I don't expect sweet, nice little films from Steven Spielberg.
mm-hmm.
I like I
It
maybe it's
didn't
not
make its
fair.
budget back neither. The
Like
production
maybe
budget was 140.
yeah, it didn't make a lot of money, and like you can say maybe it's not fair because it's like, oh come on, it's like you can't compare, but it's like if you know, my big thing is like if Nolan was making his next movie and it was just a nice little movie, I would be incredibly disappointed because when I see a Nolan movie, I expect something awesome. Now, of course, the next Nolan movie I saw the trailer for, and I know you saw the trailer for it.
Dunkirk.
It like you saw the teaser where you literally see hardly anything, but it made me go, I want to see that movie. You know, it's like, but you know, if that came out and was just okay and was just a nice like kind of story, I'd be incredibly disappointed because I hold that man to incredibly high standards. But I hold Spielberg to incredibly high standards too. He's made some of the greatest movies ever.
Right. Well,
And
the production budget was 140, and worldwide it only made 113.
wow, that's sad. Like again, nice little film, but it just maybe they were banking on the fact that people love the book so much. But like again, I never read the book. I have no connection to the book at all. And so when I saw it, it was because like I only saw it. I went in seeing it because it was on vacation. I have a video coming out probably the next couple of days if I ever get around to editing it, where I do a review of it and show you the theater that I went to. I took a few pictures of it and stuff. Where it's like a one screen theater in a small town in Ontario where I was on vacation. And like we saw it because it was raining that day and we were camping. So it was like, yeah, we'll just go see a movie. And it was fun, but again, fun little movie, not Spielbergian in any way. It's so I don't know. I think they may have just. I said in my review, if Brett Ratner had made that movie, I'd be like, that was a really good Brett Ratner movie. but Spielberg made that movie, and it's just I expect more from that man.
This summer is just well, at least from late May through now, is just filled with a bunch of movies where you're just like, frowny face.
Yeah.
So you brought it up before how people called Batman v Superman a flop.
Yeah.
What type of drop off do you think Suicide Squad would need this upcoming weekend for it to be considered a flop?
It's funny because I saw a tweet that was retweeted by somebody else, but it said it's like Suicide Squad made most of its money on its first day, and then had a big drop off its second day, and then it's like be prepared and now the word of mouth is out that it sucks, so be prepared for a massive like butt kicking next weekend, dudes. You're gonna lose all and I'm just like okay, well. Again, I think the movie's good. I'll start with that, but I think it will probably do the normal thing of what half of what it did. So, we're talking
70?
roughly 75, probably.
Okay.
Maybe so 80 if people are still wanting to see it, roughly 75, 70 if it has the normal kind of drop off. If it goes like more than that, then yeah, there's probably a problem and people don't want to see the movie. They're listening to critics and saying, "Oh, I'm not going to go see that. That's a piece of crap," even if they haven't seen it.
Yeah, I just think there's something with people not really going out to the theater. Like,
Yeah, that too.
there's just this weird trend. Um, I'm trying to think, when did the big movies come out? Would that be Dory? Yeah, Dory opened up to 135 the weekend of June 19th. The next weekend, it carried 72, and that was Finding Dory.
Yeah.
And Independence Day 2 opened up to 41 that weekend.
Oh, jeez.
And then the following weekend, Finding Dory went from 72 to 41, and it still was in first.
Yeah.
Tarzan opened at 38, Purge opened at 31. I'm trying to see. All right, Secret Life of Pets opened the next weekend, and that was 104. And its following weekend, it made 50. So, yeah,
Yeah.
if it is as maintainable as
As
the
those.
summer is predicting, right, it should be at about 70, 75 this weekend.
Yeah.
I don't know, but the cartoon movies are certainly, the animated movies certainly.
They hold, like, they seem to have that 50% drop off, but then from that 50% drop off, they don't have the nearly as steep a drop off like the ones that are doing well.
Right.
Again, like
Right.
Ice Age dropped off massively.
Yeah.
And which I think is a great thing, because the last Ice Age movie was not good. I saw the first three. The third one, actually, that was really funny. Saw the fourth one, thought it was actually really bad.
I can't believe there's more than 4 of those.
I know, it's exactly, but like, it's because the fourth one made, like, I think you looked it up, and it made like 700 million worldwide, and it's just like, they're gonna keep making them as long as they make that much money. But this one has had a big drop off. It made 40 something its opening weekend, whereas in the last one made, I believe, 60 or around that. So there's been a drop, and it's been a pretty steep drop off for this one. So I'm just hoping that they kind of go, okay, I think we've run our course. Let's stop with the Ice Age movies.
It's the problem is, like, they're putting the American marketing budget into something that really doesn't, you can't market it. We don't want it.
Yeah.
Like, you're just like willing it on us, where, like, you should put that money into Russia or something where they still kind of enjoy that movie.
Where they still think it's
really
like,
weird.
oh, this is new and this is good, and it's like, no, it's not, but okay, you can have it if you're gonna spend a lot of money on it. Feel free, you know. But I don't know. It's
Luke says, we watched Angry Birds. Wow. I mean, for a movie based on an app, it's commendable, but
it's commendable. I haven't seen it yet. I don't plan on really seeing it. Neither one of my daughters wanted to see it, and I was quite happy that they didn't. So
it's an island full of birds, and they protect their eggs, but the pig people like to eat the eggs, and so they come in a ship and pretend that they're only, first it's like one person and he's the king, and next thing you know, there's a whole bunch of them, but he, like, there's a whole bunch of pig people on a ship, and they want to eat the eggs. Like, that's really it. And the bird people have to protect their eggs.
it makes sense. Though, ham and eggs. It's all about ham and eggs. And I will point out, the pig people are green.
Green ham.
Green eggs and ham. Green eggs and ham. So it's a Dr. Seuss. It's a metaphor for Dr. Seuss. The deeper meaning of Angry Birds. No, there's no. It's just pathetic. I don't know. No. I haven't seen it, so I can't actually say that. But it's not a movie I want to see.
It's far from metaphor cinematic theater. That's damn certain.
What are you trying to say with this movie? I'm trying to say, go see the movie because I want money. That's what I'm trying to say.
Buy toys. Buy more apps.
Let us do some Happy Meals. Come on. McDonald's will tie in with us. Give us some money. That's what I'm trying to say. And they did. McDonald's did tie in with them.
Were there Angry Birds toys?
Yeah, there were. You got a little Angry Bird that you could launch, and we were eating McDonald's, and Zion got a Happy Meal, and Yeah.
I
There's
miss
Angry
I
Bird
miss
toys.
like being able to buy Happy Meals and
without
really
looking, without looking like a creep.
yeah,
You
and
show
really
up to
have it like
McDonald's. Can I get
matter
a
like
Happy Meal?
well that and like being excited about it like
Yeah.
yeah, fucking toy, yeah. But back when I
Yeah.
had Happy Meals, the chicken nuggets were in styrofoam
Yeah.
with that little cup. I don't know. So Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Big news for like a ton of reasons. Did you see the petition for Rotten Tomatoes? They
Rotten
wanted
Tomatoes. I heard about it. I think that's as much as I think there is. I don't think there's a conspiracy. Conspiracy. I think there's a general fanboyism about for some reason that people are like, listen, I like Marvel, and it's not like Marvel, so I don't like it. And I I like Marvel,
Mhm.
but I also like DC. Now, I will be the first to say I like DC more. Always
Mhm.
have, always will. Doesn't mean I don't like Marvel. So I've enjoyed most of the Marvel movies, and but DC is not Marvel. And like my wife, who's even like DC, like she's like Marvel is sugar coated candiness, and there's nothing wrong with that. She goes, DC is a bit more than that. She's like, it's trying for something a bit darker and more adult. She's like, why can't there be both? And I'm like, exactly, but it does. There, like, I don't think it's a conspiracy as much as just there's a bunch of people out there who are like, hey, we know how superhero movies are supposed to be done. Marvel does them, and this isn't that, and we don't like it. And I don't understand it because I'm like, you could have, if I'm going to be like that way, it's like, okay, I know how superhero movies should be done. A man named Christopher Nolan did something called The Dark Knight, so you can kiss my ass. That's how superhero movies should be done. But no, Marvel does them much more light and happy. I'm fine with that. But if I
Well,
was going to be like, there's only one way to do it, well, okay, we're going to be honest. Is there any Marvel movie that's as good as The Dark Knight?
mhm.
No. So if we're going to be like, well, what's the better way to make movies? Well, definitely Christopher Nolan did it better than Marvel's ever done it. That doesn't mean Marvel can't do it the way it wants to because it's totally fun and it's better for kids, and I get all that. But there's room for both.
Right. And the thing about the critics, at least, Marvel has this, approach where it's very paint by numbers. They have a formula.
Yep, they have a very, very precise formula on how they're going to make a movie and how the villain's going to be and how this is going to be, and
Right.
it works.
And that's what a critic is looking for with a film. They're looking for, all right, there's a three-act structure. Like it's kind of like, what they're doing. They're approaching film with this formulaic type response, and that's why Marvel strikes so well with critics, is because they're following the rules so
Yeah,
well. DC doesn't do that, and I think that's where they kind of lose critics.
yeah,
But as a horror fan, I should be the first to say, what the fuck does a critic score have anything to do with your enjoyment?
yeah.
That
Your
doesn't.
enjoyment of the movie.
It shouldn't have anything to do with anything.
Like it is interesting with the whole critics thing. Like because we both review movies on YouTube,
Hmm.
right? And like I kind of got mocked a bit today at work about this. Like the one guy was just like, "Oh, so you actually do like review movies and stuff? That's your thing?" And I'm like, "Yeah." It's like I like talking about movies. I review movies on YouTube. And he's like, "Oh, okay." And I'm like, and he's like, "How many subscribers do you have? Like 100?" I'm like, "Actually, I got 421." I said, "If you really want to know," and he's like, "Oh, I didn't think you'd have that many." And I'm just like, "Does it matter how many I have?" It's like I said, I have friends that have 3,000. I know people that have more than that. It's like doesn't matter. I said I don't do it for the subscribers. I do it for fun. But generally, if you're gonna watch my review of Suicide Squad, you're gonna take it like if you like my stuff, you're going to want to see what I say because you want to say, what does he think? Okay, he liked it. Now, if I didn't like it, you'd be able to then put that in the filter and go, okay, he didn't like Suicide Squad and he didn't like this movie. So I can kind of guess what he's going to say with this movie. And if that pairs up with what you like or what you want to hear about, or maybe you even like hearing people who disagree with you, watch my videos. If it doesn't, don't watch my videos. I'm fine with that. It's like I watch people because I want to hear what they're going to say, not because I necessarily agree with them. It's like I'm interested to hear what their take on the movie is. Did they like it? And like you can say, I don't think he's gonna like it, but let's see if he watched the movie and liked it. So it's all personal opinion.
Right. Right. Well, it's just weird. It's just weird that fans would get this bothered that somebody else, that a myriad of people have had an opinion,
Yeah,
and it all equals up to be this low score,
yeah,
and they're bothered by that because in their little arguments that really mean nothing with people, they can't hold up their score against who they're arguing with. Marvel has like a 90 and they have a
yeah,
27, and they're like, oh, I really can't fight with you on this because your number is bigger than mine.
yeah.
And that's really what they're upset about. Like, in the end, I don't think anybody really is bothered that Jeremy Lyons didn't like Suicide Squad. I think it's more of, oh, I can't use this in an argument because
Yeah,
I don't. If you liked Suicide Squad, didn't like Suicide Squad, it doesn't fucking matter to me. I mean,
yeah,
it's a piece when I talk. Like if we're having a conversation, it's a little bit, you know, nicer if your opinion's closer to mine. But if you hated it, it's not going to affect the way I feel about it. So I don't understand
no,
why.
it more than likely it'll make me change, maybe consider the way I look at you more often than not, right? So the guy at my work who's just like, yeah, I didn't think it was good at all because of this and this. I'm like, okay, so now your opinion on movies to me, I now value your opinion that much lower, because I was like, okay, he didn't like it, but I'm like, I haven't seen it yet, so it's like maybe he's right, maybe, because I'm not looking for a bad movie. I always want to be happy when I'm leaving a
Right,
movie. There
right.
are times I leave a movie going, holy crap, like come on, like
Hmm.
yeah, there was a cool scene here and a cool scene there, but you know, I'm not looking for that. I don't go into any movie, including Ghostbusters, hoping that it sucked. But it's just like, if it did and you think it was great, I'm now going to value your opinion that much less. Where if I think it was good and you're like, it was terrible, okay, so now I'm like, you don't know jack about movies because I clearly think it was good. And then I'll be like, okay, what else do you think is good? And then quite often, like, I've talked about some family members that, you know, my sister in particular, that, couldn't believe I went and saw The Nice Guys, no matter, thought it was like one of the best movies of the year, but she thinks Hot Pursuit is a great movie. So it's, I love my sister. Do I value her opinions on movies? Not at all. It's like, it's nice if she tells me that she thought the movie I thought was good, but it's like, do I think that her opinion counts? No, because like she likes these movies that I clearly think are crap.
Hmm.
So more than anything else, like if you give a movie that I think is good a bad review, and especially if you can't back it up other than it was messy, and that's
Oh,
all you're going to
yeah,
say, and
bad
it's
editing. Bad
yeah,
editing.
yeah, bad
What?
editing. What does that
Where?
mean
What
exactly?
are
Can
you
you explain where
talking
it was
about?
badly edited?
I,
It's like, yeah,
I think it was. I think it was Luke that brought it. I think it was Luke. If you're still in here, I'm giving you your proper credit. Um, in his review, Razor Wire Reviews, he did a regular review and a spoiler review, and he brings up how people talking about, oh, it's got bad editing, and it's like that's not a valid complaint unless you're referencing something in particular, because it's edited fine. You can follow things. It's not like they're breaking the 360 rule, with these different cuts and things. The this the story via pictures moves along just fine. Whether or
yeah,
not scenes don't fit or feel like they've been fucked with, that's a different story. That's the people telling the editor that's their problem, not the editor. I mean, like,
yeah,
it's easy to follow it with the pictures you've been shown on screen. So otherwise, like, I feel like somebody hears somebody else say something, and their respect. It goes back to the whole Rotten Tomatoes thing. There's
yeah.
this respected figure that says, "Oh, the editing was a little weird." They hear that and go,
And
"Okay,
the
here's
editing was
my
bad.
arsenal." Right? This is the
That's
arsenal
why I
of
didn't like
tools.
it.
What's up?
That's why I didn't like it. The editing was bad, and you go,
Right.
"How so?" And they're like, I don't know. Some guy on Rotten Tomatoes said the editing was bad, so it has to be bad.
The smart guy with the 4 million subscribers said so,
Yeah.
and well, he's got 4 million subscribers, so he
Yeah.
knows what he's talking about. Bad editing,
It clearly has
messy,
bad editing.
very messy, and it was dark. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Anything in particular you want to point out? No, just bad editing, messy and dark.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So,
Enjoy being a
and
lemming.
that's not saying that, like, if you think it was messy, dark, and had bad editing, I'm more willing to listen why you think that.
Yeah, no, with valid statements that back it up, sure.
So, like, I was talking to CP just before we came on air. Now, if you haven't seen Suicide Squad, I'm not really ruining anything here. There's a scene with Killer Croc where he's underwater with some soldiers that I am totally confused about in Suicide Squad. And I think it's partially due to them cutting parts of the film. Think it's down to the editing and the way they filmed the scene. It's very hard to figure out what's actually going on. And it was done poorly because I couldn't tell what was actually happening. And CP's like, well, wasn't it this? And I was like, no, I don't think so. It was this. And I've seen it twice. And I still don't understand what was going on. Right? That's bad editing. That's bad filming. That's bad filmmaking because I don't know. That's one part of the film, though. It's like that does not make it a bad film.
I don't know if that's editing. That's bad filmmaking.
Yeah, it's like in editing, like if depending, it's what they left on the cutting room floor that could have been bad editing, right?
I mean, they may not have a shot. They may not have a clear shot.
Then that's all on David Ayer for not putting the cinematographer in the right spot to take the shot. You know, it's like for him saying like, you know, I want this. Please stand there to film that. You know. And the cinematographer going, okay, I got it in focus here so you can see, you know, that's bad filmmaking, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't necessarily throw that on the editor unless, like, again, if there's a bunch of stuff sitting on the editing floor, on the editor floor, then that's his fault. But I still don't know what was going on in that scene. And like, if you know what I'm talking about, like, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, and if you haven't seen the film, I didn't just ruin anything for you because it literally doesn't. I don't know what happened exactly,
right?
But it's not a perfect movie.
No,
but it was really entertaining and I enjoyed it and seen it twice now and I liked it. And it's funny because people are complaining with the Joker stuff. One guy, one of the guys in the chat is talking about there's a guy who's suing Warner Brothers, and he's not suing them for millions of dollars. He's apparently suing them for his ticket and the price of his gas because he thought Joker was going to be the main villain, and he thought he was going to be getting lots of Joker in the movie.
Oh my
and
God!
He didn't,
really?
And he was upset because of this, and so he wanted a refund, and the theater wouldn't give him a refund. And so he's just like, I'm going to sue Warner Brothers because I think they misrepresented what the movie was going to be. I thought I was going to get a lot more Joker than I did, and he wasn't the main villain. And he's not. If you haven't seen the movie, he's not the main villain. I knew that going in because, you know, but anyways. So he's suing them, but he's suing them for like $40 because he wants his gas money covered. And it's just like that. It's ridiculous, but it's, I don't know. It's just, I don't know what to do with that because listen, you had a bad film experience. I've had tons of them. I don't sue anyone over it. I just say I didn't like the film, and I can tell you why I didn't like the film, and I move on.
Yeah, like first of all, the theater is not held responsible for anything they're showing on the screen. They're a concession stand with a white wall that they let somebody throw images on. That's all the movie theater is. But even still, like, because you don't like what there's no guarantee. Like it's not like it's a fucking washer dryer where you're supposed to have X amount of Joker time. Like a movie trailer shows images of something like for that
it's to whet your appetite.
Right. There's that's insanity. Like that's absolute insanity to think that you can dictate like how these films are being made. Now listen, if it were something like there's a bunch of these Kickstarter movies If it were something like that, and fans funded the movie,
Yeah,
and
that's different. You've put money into it. You put time and
right,
thought and
right.
stuff.
But there's no guarantee. There's no sort of
No,
contract.
it's the thing. Like he was saying, like in the trailer, it shows the Suicide Squad there, and then they hear the Joker laugh, and Will Smith goes, "Not good," and so it implied that the Joker was the villain that they'd be fighting, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, I understand they did that, and I'm like, you know what? It's not always the filmmaker. It's quite often not the filmmaker who cuts the trailer. There's guys who do that for a living. That's all they do is cut trailers. That guy thought, oh, this will be fun. We'll make it look like the Joker's the villain. It's like, regardless, it like Bourne did this. Bourne 4 did this with Bourne Legacy, where they made it look like Ed Norton and Jeremy Renner have scenes together, have a lot of scenes together. And meanwhile, they have one scene together that's a flashback in the movie. It's like, but the trailer clearly made it look like they were talking, and it was like this thing between the two of them. And was I a little miffed? Sure, because I was just like, oh, so that was a flashback in here. That had nothing to do with what we were talking about. But I wasn't promised that was going to happen. It was just that's the way the trailer was cut.
Luke
So,
says, "Could you imagine trailers doing that, featuring Wonder Woman for 36.8 minutes and
yeah,
Batman for 110.2?"
yeah.
It better not get to that.
The guy at my work was just like, well, the Joker was only in the movie for 5 minutes, and I was like, I think he was actually, I'd probably say around 15. And he's like, really, 15? And I was like, okay, maybe 14. Does that make it better? Is like, are you more happy now? I'm like, it wasn't. This is the thing that's annoyed me more than anything. I've heard a few critics go, you know what? I really like the Joker Harley Quinn storyline. I wanted that as a movie. And I'm like, okay, but this is a movie called Suicide Squad, not Joker and Harley Quinn's origin story. It is Suicide Squad. The fact that you liked that part and wish you had a movie about that part has nothing to do with the fact that you're watching a whole separate movie, and that's a small part of it. I get it. You like that part, but I would have preferred that movie. Then it wouldn't have been called Suicide Squad. It would have been called Harley and Joker.
There's too much a la carte type.
Yeah,
Like that's the culture. Getting
yeah,
things the way you want it. People ditching cable so that they can only have the channels they want. And,
yeah.
people are getting spoiled. Somebody brought it up earlier in the chat. I forgot who it was. Talking about. Oh yeah, 4K Cinema said, I would rather pay money to watch an older classic
Yeah,
film on the screen rather than pay what's being put out now. And it kind of happens every now and again, at least by me. They release classic movies. I saw Ghostbusters the month before the remake. I saw the original '84 classic. Last winter I saw Home Alone right before Christmas. And both on both occasions the theater was packed. Like, it says something to what the quality is right now, that people are sparsely filling out a theater for the brand new shit, but they're packing the house for a proven movie that's 30, 40, 50 years old. And I guess the only people that are actually going to pay for that is probably the movie theaters themselves, because they keep give them credit. They're trying to advance, and there's these great seats and great hot food, and they're doing as much as they can to attract customers. But the shit on the screen really isn't that noteworthy. So they have to try all these gimmicks and put all these classic movies that are proven. Like, that's really unfortunate, because there's a ton of people making movies right now. Did I lose you? Am I dead, or is it Peter? In the chat, if you wouldn't mind telling me if it's me or him, that would help. Jim says, I'm doing it different this year. Instead of watching horror movies in October, I'm starting September 1st through the first week of November 9. 9 weeks of horror entertainment. Well, that's intriguing, Jim. Even though it's still August 9th, September 1st is quite a ways away. I appreciate you telling me, though. So let's go through some of the things in the chat. DC, in my opinion, the problem is there seems the movies are being rushed to catch up with Marvel, and it shows in their product. I don't think that shows so much as their constant tweaking and messing around with movies to meet a date where I feel like, what was it, like a week after Batman v Superman came out, Zack Snyder was up and saying, "Oh well, we have this 3-hour cut that it's got everything that I wanted in there," and it's like, well, if that's the actual version, just wait for it. Delay a movie. I don't understand. Ben-Hur. I don't even know what the actual date for Ben-Hur is anymore because I've seen September 8th. I've seen August 17th. I don't know if they're still going forward with what, but Ben-Hur, like, fucking, it's not going to make money, guys. Just be the first people to drop the ball and say, you know what, we're going to try a VOD thing. Let's see how much money we can make, because that's really all that's left. How much did you hear, Peter? Because
I missed it all.
all of it, my entire tirade on movie theaters and.
Yeah, sorry, my computer froze, and I was like, "Oh crap!" So I turned off.
Okay, so what I was talking about was the people going to the theater to watch old movies, like how I saw Ghostbusters,
Yeah.
Home Alone. Lee saw Halloween a couple months back, and apparently these showings are selling out, and I feel bad for movie theaters because they're trying their best to make the theater nice and hot food and great seats, but modern cinema, like, they're not putting out quality.
No.
So what's weird is you're going to have modern movie theaters start being a thing like a drive-through where you go every now and again just to try something. Like if it resorts to major chains like 10, 15 plexes, and they're showing Goodfellas and Citizen Kane on 3 or 4 screens, then like something's gone horribly wrong, I would say.
Yeah, I think there is a place definitely for older movies on big screens, and I would gladly see them. Like there's many I'd love to go see. I would have paid money to go see Ghostbusters on the big screen. I would have taken my daughters. I would have taken my wife. I would have, like Jaws, I'd love to see on the big screen. I never got a chance to do that and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But if that's what they're relying on, I think there's a problem. Like me and CP have talked about the fact that one of the things I would do if I ever won millions of dollars is I'd open up a small theater. Like I'd open up like a 5-screen theater. And one of the things I'd do is have older movies play, like rotating and stuff. Like I'd have the newer small films, but I'd have I'd have like at least one a week where it'd be an older movie playing. Like, and it would again be like CP was saying, like really nice seats, alcohol could be served, like nice food and all that kind of stuff. But like, and I'm not winning money, so don't think that's happening, unfortunately. But that's one of the things I would totally do. Like someone's like, "Don't ever do that. You wouldn't make any money," and I'm like, "Listen, if I won $50 million, it wouldn't be about the money. It would be about the thing, right? It'd be about like I'd want this thing to be real." Because I would love a theater like that. Like I would go to a theater like that all the time if there one existed close enough to me, but there isn't one. But yeah, I think if that's what they're relying on, though, like if there's a problem with what Hollywood is putting out right now, if that's what they're relying on. But you were saying again, Ben-Hur. I think Ben-Hur's only shot at money is a big screen. Because because you were kind of saying like try it on VOD and stuff. I think people like their whole thought behind this was, again, I swear it was like one executive guy or one writer was watching Ben-Hur going, "Bet we can make a kick-ass chariot scene nowadays," and it's just like we can make that look really good, and we can do stunts and make it look awesome, and we can do this and that and yeah, well, it was like, well, we'll just make, and the guy's like, well, we can't do that because they said we're ripping off Ben-Hur, and then he's really like, let's just do Ben-Hur. It's like we don't rip it off, we just do it.
Yeah,
It's like, but we
yeah.
make it an action film instead of a religious epic. It's like
Isn't that religious? See,
it's
Ben Hur is
religious
one of those
enough,
movies that.
right?
Okay.
It's religious enough. Like there's a but like I didn't know the first time I watched it that there was going to be any Jesus in it at all. I was like Jesus shows up like at least 4 or 5 times in the film, and
Yeah.
I had no clue he was going to, and so
It
I
is.
was
It
just
is.
like,
It is
Jesus
listed in
is
the
like
IMDb
this,
description that it's a religious film,
yeah,
action, adventure, religious.
religious film. Like I was shocked actually the first time I watched it, like
Hmm.
as an adult. I was like, I had no clue it was a Jesus film. And it's not a Jesus film, but you know what I mean. Like he shows up a bunch of times as part of the narrative. And as far as I know, they've actually kind of kept that for this one to some degree. I don't know how much, but I swear it was just like we can do this awesome chariot scene, and then it's like screw it, let's just make Ben-Hur again because people are gonna go nah, they're just copying Ben-Hur. If they would have made a gladiator film and had this big scene, there would have just people like would have complained too much. So it's like you stand a better chance of people going, oh, they're remaking it. It's okay. It's but I don't. I think if they release that to home, just directly to home, you've lost half your market because people are going to go see that because of the chariot race
But there's
purely.
no market. I can't even see that movie making 15 million this weekend.
It's if it makes it, it'll probably be with the younger people market who have no clue. Number one, it's a remake, and number two, it's just like oh, that epic scene, man, with the chariot, or they'll be like the horses with that thing behind it because they don't know it's a chariot. Um, I don't know what you call him, but he's riding it. It's got horses. Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Right.
But I can't see it making a lot of money. I'll be honest. But
Like that.
it would
That's
make
what's.
even less money if they did it direct to VOD
I,
because
I I'm
you
really
lose all
dying.
that.
I'm dying to know what modern the straight theatrical marketing program, but instead of releasing it to a theater, releasing it to VOD.
VOD.
What type of money that would do because you're having the same, the blitz, the commercials, TV spots, ads on an IMDb page or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Just imagine having an ad blitz where you have a thing and you could click a link and then go watch that
Go
movie.
watch the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how many people are like, "Oh, that's cool. Maybe I'll see that someday." If they had the
I don't
option
know. Yeah.
to instead of say, "Oh, go to local theaters and here's a Fandango link," instead of doing that, if you gave them a link to the page to see the movie at that moment, I'm really dying to know like
I see. I'd be more interested if they tried that with Suicide Squad. Um, than Ben-Hur. Because again, Ben-Hur, like you said, no one's going to go see the movie anyways. But
right.
Ben-Hur's big thing was the chariot race. So I think literally they're banking on the people who want to go to a big screen and see this thing happening. Whereas if you could have released Suicide Squad that way, where you're like, Suicide Squad, see it Friday, just click the link and you'll watch it right away on Friday morning. It's like
Yeah.
I would have been really interested to see what kind of money it would do, like in comparison. But there are
Mm.
more, like there's a bunch of movies out there you can get on iTunes like the day before they go in theaters. A lot of smaller independent films, like
Oh yeah, sure.
so it's and I have no clue what their sales are like at all. Because I'll be honest, I don't buy movies off iTunes to rent. Like I don't rent anything off iTunes.
Hmm.
I'll rather wait. It'll be on Netflix. It'll be in my library. It'll be like I just don't pay for movies like that. So.
It's really hard to trace, or at least that's the vibe I'm getting because
Mm-hmm.
they're just not showing numbers too well because I've been dying to find out figures because it's got to be worth it to at least try it somewhere like that Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, the movie that
Yeah.
they gave it 2 release dates. I'm certain that's got to cost them some sort of money to release a movie to the theaters, pull it back and say, you know what, fuck it, and then do it
And
again
release it
all
again.
over again.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
eh, and it still didn't make any money. So
It
like,
still didn't make money.
what?
Yeah.
Somebody's got to be willing to try. And Warner Brothers, you're willing to gamble on your movies. Why not really gamble on your
Yeah.
movies? And,
So you know where that like Disney, like someone will be the leader in that, right? And it will probably end up being Disney. Disney will probably get tired of something, and then they'll be like, you know what? You can now watch our movies on the Disney Channel, and it's going to be like brand new content. It's going to like, so like Beauty and the Beast will be coming out on the Disney Store app or whatever, and it's like you watch it on your home computer, you watch it on your home cinema, you rent it for $25 for the day, and you can watch it, as many times in the 24 hours as you like, and all that kind of stuff.
I think that's where they keep getting snagged. Where apparently they had some sort of they had a plan in place,
Mm-hmm.
and they couldn't agree on the price because I guess the price point that they were pushing was $50,
Yeah.
and people were like, people aren't going to pay that. It's a
No,
bit too high.
it's a thing, right? Like if you okay, so me and my family want to go see Suicide Squad on a normal night. That's gonna cost us. It's what, $12 a ticket, right? So that's 4 times 12,
Hmm.
48. If my math's correct, and it always is. Um, Tony Stark reference. So yeah, if I was like, yeah, okay, I'll buy, I'll pay that. But if you have a couple that were just going to go see it, right? Then it doesn't make sense because, like, why would you pay $50 for something that you're only going to pay 24 for at the theater?
Right.
And it's like, so now again, if you put it at a reasonable price, so like maybe 25 or $30. And the whole thing is you can then be like, hey, people, do you guys want to come over and split? You pay $10, I'll pay $10. Best guy can play $10, and we'll get Suicide Squad. And
Right.
it's like I could have easily, even if they charged $50, I could have easily put a thing out on my Facebook account on Friday night and said, hey guys, who wants to come see Suicide Squad? We're going to split the cost for however many people show up. So if like 20 people show up, listen, you're paying like $3,
Right.
to watch Suicide Squad. If 10 people show up, you're paying $7 or whatever. It's like I easily could have got a bunch of people to my house to watch that movie.
Hmm.
But not everyone's going to do that, right? But if you charge 50, you're going to assume people are going to want to do that because there's no way a couple is going to want to spend that's going to spend $22 or $24 in the theater are going to want to spend $50 to watch that same movie at home.
Hmm.
So yeah, the price point is something they're going to have to work at and just accept. Maybe the fact if they're going to put for 30, that yeah, sure, someone may be like, hey, come on over and chip in $2 and you can watch the new movie, and but they're still getting their $30 in the end, right?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, they might have gotten more or they might have gotten less because again, some people were like, you know what, I'll wait until it's on DVD. Well, it's like, oh, I can go watch it at your house for $2 tonight, sure. It's one of those trade-offs, right? So
Right. Right.
but Disney, I think, will be the one. If anyone's going to lead the way with it, Disney has the financial backing because they're just like a monster of a company.
The Disney. Yeah.
They have the properties between Disney and Marvel, and they have the properties that could get away with that. It's like you want to watch the next Avengers movie at your home, and we're going to bypass the theater completely. They would make a ton of money. And they have the infrastructure that they could get away with doing that because they have a whole lot of stuff already set up online for Disney stuff. So if anyone's I think Warner Brothers is daring enough, but I think if anyone's going to do it, Disney's going to be the one that leads the way and goes, no, we'll do it. And then they'll show if it makes money or not. And because they're if it doesn't make money and they try it for say 10 films, Disney's the one company that can go, it was an experiment. It's not going to hurt our long-term goal. It's not going to hurt our long-term money gains. So it's like they're the one
Right.
company that can get away with that. No other movie company can do that.
Right.
So I don't know.
So Do you have any closing thoughts about the movie before we go on to next weekend?
Yeah, if you haven't seen Suicide Squad, go see it. I again thought it was good. I think it made. I was glad it made that much money. I'm really happy it made good money.
Mhm.
Nine Lives screwed me in the end, like but yeah,
You
no.
keep gambling on those.
I keep gambling and I keep getting bit in the ass for it. I should know never bet against the animated movie because like I thought Dory would go down faster than it did and it didn't, and then now it's Secret Life of Pets where I'm like it's its fifth week out, it has to go out of the top five, but fuck it, it was top four, so I
um,
gotta just learn my lesson and shut up and be like, okay, the animated movie's gonna stick around. So
so this weekend we're getting Pete's Dragon and Sausage Party,
and the Sausage Party,
which are two movies that are animated to a degree,
yeah,
but not the same type of
not the same
audience.
kind of audience at all. That's gonna be interesting. Holy crap.
Um, I think I can go.
Okay, you go first.
I think Suicide Squad's gonna repeat,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it. No,
Yeah, yeah. And then everything, Peace Dragon and Sausage Party are gonna make top five.
Suicide Squad, uh, Sausage Party at 2.
You're betting against Disney?
Yeah, yep,
Wow.
and I'll put Dragon at 3.
Peace Dragon at 3.
Number 4, I guess, will be Born, and number 5, yeah, Bad Moms.
Okay. All right.
Yuck.
Hey, you ready?
Yep.
Okay, Suicide Squad's gonna be number 1. I'm gonna go Pete's Dragon number 2. And then I'm gonna go Sausage Party. Then I'm going to go Jason Bourne. Then Secret Life of Pets because I'm just gonna assume it's gonna stick around in the top 5.
Yeah, I really don't disagree, to be honest with you.
I think Bad Moms will drop out and be like number 6.
I kind of hope that that's the case because I don't know, just for the sake of it doesn't look that good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really doesn't. But it's I know some people who are like, yeah, let's go watch it. And it's like, okay. Like, of course, they're all women that like are mothers, so.
Yeah, apparently the Founder has been released limited. I'm kind of fired up about that. That's the
The
McDonald's
McDonald's
story.
thing, yeah.
Um,
With
Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton, love Michael Keaton, love that guy.
Yeah. After that, this upcoming the weekend of the 19th, where War Dogs comes out. I really, the more they play commercials and shit for it, the more I want to see it. But
I know, me too. I was like thinking maybe we should go see War Dogs. Like I actually have a free we have a free coupon for a movie, for an adult movie, and I have enough movie points from the scene thing that we do in Canada where I can get a free movie as long as it's not 3D. And I'm just like, so that's 2 movie tickets, like 2 free movie tickets I have waiting to be used. And I'm just like, do I want to use that on War Dogs because it looks kind of good? But I'm like, do I want to wait and maybe use that on Hands of Stone or whatever that is? Or I don't know, man. I like De Niro. I don't know.
I do too, but he's made some shit lately.
He has, but this looks like kind of a return to not making shit. I don't know.
But yeah, other than that, I feel like that's kind of it for the summer. War Dogs is kind of the, all right, this is it for 2016.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really that much of a year to be all, hey, let's get excited.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
I think we had our fun for the year. I think that's basically what the point is.
Yeah.
The summer happened last weekend, and that was it.
Yeah, that was. Yeah. Pretty
Good
much,
input.
Suicide Squad was the best summer movie, and I'm
Mhm.
sorry. I'm sorry if you didn't like it.
In a flaky summer, yeah, really
It's
flaky
the
summer.
best summer movie. Should there have been better ones? Yes, there should have been.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking forward to Bourne a lot. Nope, was just okay. It made me laugh actually. It's funny because I was watching this thing on Matt Damon. And he was like had a ask me thing on Reddit or something, and it was a video. And they asked him, was it hard to redo? Like, did they have to convince him to do Bourne? And and he's like, oh no. He goes, as soon as the director Paul Greengrass got on, I was fully on. He goes, the problem is we didn't have a story. And I was thinking, yeah, I saw the movie. You didn't have a story. And he's just like, well, then we got a story. I'm thinking, no, you didn't. You really didn't get a story. It's like what you said the first time was correct. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like you guys really didn't have much of a story, and that's why it didn't nearly do as well as in the other Bourne movies. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Womp womp.
it's been a very lackluster summer for like there's this year has been a lackluster year. There's been
Yeah.
some really big things that are massive. There's been a bunch of mediocrity, and then there's been a few movies that were great that were freaking ignored, like Nice Guys, and from what I understand, Swiss Army Man and
Oh,
Green Room were both
oh,
literally
yeah.
great movie. I haven't seen them, I can't say, but I've been
All of
told
the
by
above. Yes.
by credible sources that I believe that I trust their movie thing that those are two good movies that again were like Nice Guys for me was the movie that I'm just like it's one of the best movies of the year and it was completely ignored at the box office.
We hit the
And
scene where there's all the shit breaking and he's chasing the print. So funny. So fucking funny. And Nice Guys, I'm sorry.
it's just so there you had a lot of great you had a lot of like like we said 7 or 8 really big huge movies and then a bunch of mediocrity that were killing each other, that were just
Mm-hmm.
eating each other's budgets out from underneath them. And then
Mm-hmm.
you have some really great things that were, and then you got some shit that that made some money, but we have no clue why.
Right. Right.
So that's the year in review, people.
Yeah.
Sad as it is, that's mediocrity won the day. If you're looking at what was like what out of those 4 categories, there were so many mediocre, lackluster movies out there
Mm-hmm.
that it was just you were inundated with them, and they all killed each other, like budget-wise. They all just kept on eating each other.
Well,
So
hopefully, Suicide Squad maintains a bit, and it's not a complete,
yeah,
like because if
although
Suicide Squad comes in with like 40 or something, then
yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if it did just because of all the bad press, but I'd be saddened because I liked the movie. I thought it was good. Seen it twice.
yeah,
I don't understand the bad press. I understand criticism and critique. Didn't make it a bad movie. Just it wasn't perfect.
it
And
would be rather unfortunate. Yes,
yeah.
but
So,
we will be back to tell you one way or another what happens.
yeah.
Peter, any last words?
Um, look for my Suicide Squad review and coming the next day. My friend who taught me to edit is editing it for me. He said he wanted to do a little editing, and so I said, "Hey, do that one. I'm lazy." And I'm going to be doing a video where I kind of show off my vacation a little bit, my camping vacation, where I talk about BFG and showed the little town. And I actually took a tour of a video store, an actual, honest to God, well, not video store technically because they don't sell VHS, but a store that rents out DVDs and Blu-rays in a small town of 4,000 people. It was, so look for that in the next couple of days if I get my ass in gear.
All right, over on Bearded Movie Guy,
Thanks.
and we should have something over on Drum Dums for horror fans. That should be this weekend. But otherwise, say goodbye, Peter.
Say goodbye, Peter. Bye.